It started in Bath Avenue, Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. A quiet street by day, a place where children played ball in the alley and mothers hung laundry on the fire escapes. But underneath the ordinary rhythms of neighborhood life, something else was brewing. Something that promised loyalty, danger, power. For some, it became everything. Jimmy Calandra grew up there. Small streets, close families, tough fists, tight loyalty. He learned early that in Bath Avenue you weren't just living, you were being watched. You were being tested. That sense of being under observation wasn't paranoia. It was fact. The wise guys, the mafiosi, they looked for youth, for vulnerability, for potential. One misstep, one flash of ambition, and you could be pulled in. Jimmy recalls that the neighborhood was a recruitment center for the 5 families of New York: Gambino, Lucchese, Bonanno, Colombo, vanished names whispered in corners. These men of honor, as they called themselves, weren't just criminals. They were mentors to some, kings to others. To Jimmy and people like him, they were danger and allure wrapped in a gold chain and a wink. Jimmy tells us the rules. You stay quiet, you stay loyal, you do what you're told. If they call, you answer. If you fail, you suffer. Even if it means killing your best friend, he says. And sometimes that's exactly what it meant. There is no honor, no respect, only survival. Paulie Gulino was the leader of the Bath Avenue crew. He wasn't born into power, he made it. He earned it the hard way: violence, hustle, the ever-present threat of betrayal. But Paulie had ambition. He wanted recognition. He wanted fear. He wanted control. And for a time, in the way that matters in those streets, he had it. But those streets are a crucible. They burn the unprepared. They warp morality. They force you into impossible decisions. Decisions that turn loyalty into betrayal, love into hate, brothers into enemies. Jimmy says that while growing up he saw mistakes. Young men with dreams, big mouths, bad luck. They got pulled in too early, too deep. And once you're in, often there's no getting out. We hear from Tommy Reynolds in one of the interviews. He talks about Bath Avenue not being some mythical place, not some romantic gangland. To him, the men were wild kids on dope doing stupid shit, thinking they were untouchable. Some of them really thought they were going to be made, take their place among the Mafia bosses. They failed. Or they were failures in the eyes of the Mafia. Tommy's description pulls back the curtain. The glamour, the movies, the wise guy image, it's all noise. The real thing is fear. Fear of cops, fear of rivals, fear of your own people. The fear that the person next to you might betray you first. The fear in knowing that one mistake will cost you more than you ever earned. And all of it lived under a shadow that followed you everywhere. There were law enforcement officers who came to know them. Detectives who watched Bath Avenue, who listened to whispers at barbershops, who followed cars late at night. Undercover work, wiretaps, informants. These weren't headlines at first. They were files, quiet investigations. But eventually they closed in. For Jimmy, there were moments of glory, moments of terror. Nights where deals went down, guns clicked, betrayal was currency. But there were also times of hope. Some thought they could escape, leave the life. Some tried to build something outside of Bath Avenue: family, business, peace. But in many cases, the life followed them. Old debts, old enemies. The reputation you build, good, bad, whatever, it doesn't let go. Redemption became a whisper. Jimmy started speaking out, sharing stories, telling truths. Some listen, some judge. But the act of speaking itself was dangerous. It meant exposing parts of yourself, admissions of guilt, betrayals of silence. But it was also necessary. Because the story of Bath Avenue isn't just about crime. It's about people. It's about how environment shapes destiny. How poverty, neglect, lack of options can push someone toward crime, not always out of choice but out of necessity. Over time, many in the Bath Avenue crew were arrested, locked up. Some died. Some faded into obscurity. The Brotherhood cracked under pressure. Prosecutors used informants. Witnesses testified. The mythology of the streets couldn't protect everyone. But even with arrests and prison walls, the story didn't end. The legend lives in whispers, in cautionary tales, in rap lyrics, in YouTube videos, in Halloween masks of wise guys. Bath Avenue became a symbol of what the Mafia wanted: loyalty, respect, fear. And of what it destroys: trust, morality, lives. Jimmy reflects on what it cost him: friendships, freedom, peace of mind. What he witnessed: violence, betrayal, heartbreak. What he learned: the worst betrayal is betrayal by yourself. When you compromise who you are to survive, you lose pieces of your soul. Some nights, he wonders, if he had made different choices, if he had left when he could, would he still be alive? Would he still be in pieces? And yet, even he knows that many youths today look at Bath Avenue and see mystique. They see the movies, the stories, the respect that seems earned. They don't always see the cost until it's too late. The bodies, the betrayals, the regrets. Because stories are romantic until they are real. Until you smell gunpowder, hear your friend die, feel the cold steel of regret at your back. Jimmy's redemption isn't heroic. It's messy. It's admitting mistakes. It's trying to make something honest out of the ruins. It's talking, helping others avoid the path. It's warning, not preaching. It's truth-telling, not myth-making. The life in the Mafia, Bath Avenue or anywhere else, has scars. Not all of them heal. Some you carry for a lifetime. Some you hide. But they're there. This is a story about power and its seduction. About streets that demand blood in exchange for silence. About families in more than one sense: blood, neighborhood, crime. About how a child can grow up wanting respect, and find that respect only comes if they're willing to lose everything else. The street teaches you fast that respect, fear, and loyalty are intertwined. That betrayal is closer than kin. That promises are fragile. That law, inside and outside, is never exactly what you hope it's going to be. And in the end, maybe the greatest tragedy is not what was done, but what could have been. What innocence was lost. What futures were stolen. Bath Avenue taught many lessons. Some harsh, some bitter, some unrepeatable. But maybe now, by sharing them, by bringing them into light, those lessons can prevent others from walking the same dark alleys. Jimmy ends with a question. When the lights go out, when the applause fades, when the streets are quiet, what remains? The scars, the memories, the regrets, the hope, fragile, that redemption is more than a word. That life, even one marred by sin and violence, can still reach toward grace. That is the story of Bath Avenue. Not just of Mafia, but of people. Not just of crime, but of choices. Not just of fear, but of the possibility, however distant, of freedom.